Hi, boys and girls. It's Dr. Bohannek, Read Aloud Time, and I'm going to do chapters 17 and 18 today. And chapter 17 is called I Smell Squirrel. There was a boy at the door. He was short, and his hair was so blonde that it looked almost white. His eyes were hidden behind enormous dark glasses. In addition to Terrible Things Can Happen to You, the illuminated adventures of the amazing Incandesto regularly featured a second bonus comic entitled The Criminal Element Among Us. The Criminal Element gave very specific pointers on how to never, ever be fooled by a criminal. And one of the oft-repeated dictums of the criminal element was that the best way to get to know a person was to look him or her directly into their eyes. Flora tried to look the boy in the eye, but all she saw was a reflection of herself in those dark glasses. She looked short and uncertain, like an accordion in pajamas. "William," said Tootie, "I told you to stay put." "I heard screaming," said the boy. His voice was high and thin. "I was concerned. I came as fast as I could. Unfortunately, on the way here, I had a small but extremely violent encounter with some variety of shrub, and now I'm bleeding. I think I'm bleeding. I'm pretty sure I smell blood, but no one should be concerned. Please don't overreact." "This," said Tootie, "is my nephew." "Great nephew," said the boy, "and I hope I don't need stitches. Do you think I need stitches?" "His name is William," said Tootie. "William Spiver, actually," said Tootie's nephew. "I prefer to be called William Spiver. It distinguishes me from the multiplicity of Williams in the world." He smiled. "It's a pleasure to meet you, whoever you are. I would shake your hand, but as I said, I think I'm bleeding. Also, I'm blind." "You are not blind," said Tootie. "I am suffering from a temporary blindness induced by trauma," said William Spiver. Temporary blindness induced by trauma. The word sent a chill down Flora's spine. Seemingly, there was no end to the things that could go wrong with human beings. Why hadn't Terrible Things Can Happen to You done an issue on temporary blindness induced by trauma? Or, for that matter, one on extended hallucinations. "I am temporarily blind," said William Spiver again. "How unfortunate," said Flora's mother. And here's a picture of William Spiver. And you can see his dark glasses. "He is not blind," said Tootie, "but as of this morning, he is staying with me for the summer. Imagine my surprise and excitement." "I have nowhere else to go, Great Aunt Tootie," said William Spiver. "You know that. I'm at the mercy of the winds of fate." "Oh," said Flora's mother. She clapped her hands. "How wonderful. A little friend for Flora." "I don't need a little friend," said Flora. "Of course you do," said her mother. She turned to Tootsie. "Flora is very lonely. She spends far too much time reading comics. I've tried to break her of that habit, but I am very busy with my novel writing as she is alone a lot. I'm worried that it has made her strange." "I am not strange," said Flora. This seemed like a safe statement to make when someone is truly, profoundly strange, as William Spiver was standing beside her. "I would be happy to be your friend," said William Spiver. "Honored," and he bowed. "How lovely," said Flora's mother. "Yes," said Flora, "how lovely." "The blind," said William Spiver, "even the temporarily blind, have an excellent sense of smell." "Oh, for heaven's sake," said Tootie. "Here we go again. I have to tell you that I smell something out of the ordinary, something that is not usually smelled within the confines of the human domestic sphere," said William Spiver. He cleared his throat. "I smell a squirrel." "Squirrel?" Confronted with the spectacle of William Spiver, they had forgotten about Ulysses. Flora and her mother and Tootie all turned and looked at Ulysses. He was still on top of Mary Ann. He had managed to balance himself on the small blue and green globe that was at the center of the lampshade. That squirrel, said Flora's mother. He's rabid, diseased. He's got to go. Chapter 18 is called A Scientific Adventure. Why don't you let me take the squirrel? Tootie said to Flora's mother. I'll just return him to the wild. If you can call the backyard the wild, said William Spiver. Hush up, William, said Tootie. She reached out for Ulysses. Don't touch it, shrieked Flora's mother. Not without gloves. It has some sort of disease. If you could just get me some gloves then, said Tootie, I'll pluck the squirrel off the lampshade and whisk him out of here, and I will set him free. The kids can come along. It will be a scientific adventure. It doesn't sound very scientific to me, said William Spiver. Well, said Flora's mother, I don't know. Flora Belle's father is coming to pick her up for their Saturday visit. He'll be here any minute now, and she's still in her pajamas. Flora Belle, said William Spiver. What a lovely name. It will take just a few minutes, said Tootie in a low, soothing voice. The kids can go get to know one another. I'll get you some gloves, said Flora's mom. And so now, here they were, walking over to Tootie's, getting to know each other or something. Tootie had a pair of dishwashing gloves that went all the way up to her elbows. The gloves were bright pink, and they glowed in a cheery, radioactive sort of way. In Tootie's gloved hands was Ulysses. Behind Tootie was Flora. And next to Flora was William Spiver. His left hand rested on her shoulder. Do you mind, Flora Belle, he had said, would it trouble you terribly if I put my hand on your shoulder and allowed you to guide me back to Great Aunt Tootsie's house? The world is a treacherous place when you can't see. Flora didn't bother pointing out to him that the world was a treacherous place when you could see. And speaking of treacherousness, things were not in any way progressing as Flora had planned. She had envisioned Ulysses fighting crime, criminals, villains, darkness. She had imagined him flying, holy bagamba, through the world with her, Flora Buckman, at his side. Instead, here she was leading a temporarily blind boy through her own backyard. Crazy, to say the least. Have you released the squirrel yet, Great Aunt Tootie? No, said Tootie, I have not. Why do I sense that there is more going on here than meets your eye, said William Spiver. Just keep quiet until we get back to the house, William, and said Tootie. Can you do that? Can you keep quiet for 1 minute? Of course I can, said William Spiver, and he sighed. I'm an old pro at keeping quiet. Flora doubted very much that this was true. William Spiver squeezed her shoulder. May I inquire how old you are, Flora Belle? Don't squeeze my shoulder. I'm 10. I am 11 years old, said William Spiver, which surprises me, I must say. I feel much older than 11. Also, I know for a fact that I am smaller than your average 11-year-old. It may even be that I'm shrinking. Excessive trauma can hurt the growth. I'm not certain, however, if it can cause actual shrinkage. What was the traumatic event that turned you blind, said Flora. I prefer not to discuss it right now. I don't want to alarm you. It's not possible to alarm me, said Flora. I'm a cynic. Nothing in the human nature surprises a cynic. So you say, said William Spiver. The word cryptic popped into Flora's head. It was preceded by the word unnecessarily. Unnecessarily cryptic, said Flora out loud. I beg your pardon, said William Spiver. But then they were at Tootsie's house. They were walking through her backyard and into her kitchen, which smelled like bacon and lemons. Tootie, put Ulysses down on the table. I don't understand, said William Spiver. We're back at your house, but I can still smell that squirrel. Flora took the paper out of her pajamas. She handed it to Tootie. She felt like a spy, a successful spy, a triumphant spy, a spy in my pajamas. What's this, said Tootie. It's proof that you aren't the victim of an extended hallucination, said Flora. Tootie held the paper with both hands. She stared at it. Squirtle, she said. Squirtle, said William Spiver. Keep reading, said Flora. Squirtle, said Tootie. I am Ulysses born anew. See, said Flora. What does this prove, said William Spicer. What does it even mean? The squirrel's name is Ulysses, said Tootie. Wait a minute, said William Spicer. Are you saying that the squirrel typed these words? Typing? Yeah, said Flora. That's exactly what I'm saying. The hallucination extends, said Tootie. What hallucination, said William Spicer. The squirrel as a superhero hallucination, said Tootie. Surely you jest, said William Spicer. Ulysses sat up on his hind legs. He looked at William Spicer and then he looked at Tootie, and finally he turned his eyes on Flora. He raised his eyebrows and gave her a look of questions full of hope. Flora felt a pang of doubt. He was, after all, just a squirrel. She had no proof that he was a superhero. What if there was some other explanation for those words? Also, there was Tootie's disturbing point to consider. What kind of superhero types? And then she thought about Alfred, how everyone doubted him, how no one, except for the parakeet Dolores, knew that he was incandesto, and how no one, except Dolores, truly believed in him. Was it Flora's job to believe in Ulysses? And what did that make her, a parakeet? Let me just get this straight, said William Spicer. You, a self-professed cynic, are saying that the squirrel is a superhero. The words do not hope, instead observe, fitted through Flora's brain. She took a deep breath. She brushed the phrase off. The squirrel typed those words, she said. Well, said William Spicer, whose hand was still on Flora's shoulder. Why didn't he move his hand? Let's just approach this scientifically. We'll put the squirrel in front of Great Aunt Tootie's computer, and we'll ask him to type again. The end. Next chapter is called chapter 19, and it's the Ineverent Eye. And you can see a little sneak peek of them putting Ulysses by the computer. So we'll have to wait and see. Okay, boys and girls, it's time for you to read. Try to get at least 20 minutes in a day, okay? Okay, I miss you. Have a great day. Bye.